on. Bad news, it's to beat the home, nigga. Yeah. Go on, get on his ass real quick one time. 144, baby.
They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, me whole guard. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I go with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this lord. So that bitch either. I know them niggas ain't cut like swear to a coed. Matter of fact, like a dog. Any problem, let them come. We gon' snatch they soul like Shang Tsung. Put them out of service, keep them tools like this Hobby Freight. Try to hope it's way too late. I'm headed straight to the safe. Throw that one up like a trophy. I'm that nigga, ain't no debate. Throw them boys, we taking note. Call them up like set the date. This shit a piece of cake. Yeah, my bitches came from Whole Foods. Told them put on that top 3. Then bring me my house shoes. Don't make excuses, make moves. These niggas ungrateful, gotta show them U.P.K rules. I'm making this like I can't lose. They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, me whole guard. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the fart. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this lord. Told that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our court. Yeah, I just got off the call. I'ma start another war. Spit a plate up with my niggas. Get your knife and your fart. They ain't locked in with the cow. Then when you speaking to me, fart. Yeah, I just took the floor. Ain't no cowards in my campaign. They can't stop the campaign. Tell them bring the champagne. They know I'm a champion. They can see the outcome. Get them niggas bad. Got them tied down and out there. You can't do with them steppers. Niggas been down since day one. We run up the bands, bitch, like Dylan. They say you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I read that bitch just like a horse. Yeah, about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, we whole guard. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You either low or this low. So that bitch is either or. I told you niggas, you ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our car. And I just made it go. We gon' start another war. Yeah.
No sweat. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashem Yah Shabrak Thumb Yahweh Shema Thumb Bashem Yah Jah. I'm priest and officer Yedai, officer 1000, holding it down. This is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class. We got to understand, man, as Blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women, brotherhood is important. Brotherhood is essential because what we need to realize, man, now more than ever, it's time to come out of this world, man, to come out of America, to come out of Babylon, to come out of Egypt, and come back into the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge, man. Because you got to understand, man, like the way the oppressor and these enemies is attacking us now is vicious. Tonight, we're going to go over Wakanda 2, Black Panther 2. I'm going to explain to every black man and woman out there, every so-called Negro, you know what I mean, a West Indian and Haitian brother and sister, we are not African. Like, we got to cut that out, everybody. Like, we got this thing with us where we think we are Wakanda. We think we are the Black Panther. We're not. Black man, you ain't no African, man. And we never will be Africans. The problem is, though, you think because, they call us African American. The question is, how can you be a descendant of Leo Scipio's Africanus and Amerigo Vespucci? Now, Amerigo Vespucci was an Italian explorer, hence the name America comes from. Leo Scipio's Africanus, a Roman general and conqueror. That's where the name Africa comes from, man. So how can we be a descendant of two oppressors? We're not. And the so-called Africans, here's the thing, man, what you need to realize. They are really Hamites. They come from the seed of Ham. Latino man, First Nation man, black man and woman. We come from the seed of Shem. And I'm going to show it to you, man. I'm going to show it to you because what we need to understand as the Lord's chosen people, man, is that we have been lied to. And when I say we have been lied to, man, we've been told that we are something that we're not. And I'm telling you, man, we are the greatest people on this earth. If I could, right, if I could, just so I can give you something. Bob, give me young man Alex, give me Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. First thing we got to realize, man, is that we are the biblical and ethnic Jews of antiquity, man. Like the Jews are black. Like Latino man, Seminole Indian, and First Nation man and woman, we're the real Jews. The so-called Jew is not a Jew. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of. They like us to believe, you know what I mean, that we are African American, that we just niggas and spicks and savages, and we ain't none of those things, man. We're the real Jews. We're the real Israelites. Now, and we're also above every other nation that is on the face of this earth. Like another myth that we need to dispel, right, is that God made everybody equal. That is not true. God does not love all races of people. And that's something, you know what I mean, in the Christian church, we've been taught all our lives. We've been taught all our lives in that Muslim minds that God loves everybody. But that's not true according to the word of God, according to the Bible. And I'm going to show it to you, man. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. Let me know when you got it. Because it's important to understand, man. Like our records is right here in this Bible. Right here, man. And the Lord is trying to tell us, man. And that's why the UPK is here, to let it be known, man. To let it be known. Because we've been doing this since 1969. Explaining who we really are, man, because it's right here, hidden in plain sight. And the Bible, man, is our history book. It holds our records. You know what I mean? Listen, the only way that you can get your identity back is by opening up this book and realize we are the people of this book. The reason why you feel so empowered when you go see a damn movie is because we don't know who the hell we are. Then when you go see the movie, it just demonized brothers. It just demonizes brothers, demonizes sisters too. Like they make it seem like the Africans are better than us, and they are not. When Futu, Nungala, the Black Panther, T'Challa, they are not better than blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. We are the greatest people. Salakia. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. I help the brother. Go ahead. I got a question online?
Okay.
What's the question?
Young man Chris, Shalom, sir. According to the Bible, what is a house? How to keep the house from falling? Why?
How to keep the house from falling. That is a damn good question. Now, I believe you know what I want. I believe you know what I want. Strong man. Buying the strong man. This is what we got to realize, man, and which is needed in every house, man. Because this question is, what is a house? Okay.
And then the second part is how to keep house from falling.
How to keep the house from falling. Okay. The house is your home, right? House is, you know what I mean, your home. You know what I mean, for you and your family. And what we got to realize in the broader sense for Israelites, man, we are the house of Israel, black man, Latino man, First Nation man, and woman. I'm going to break that down too tonight. And specifically for our households, black man, we are needed more than ever. Latino man, First Nation man, we are needed more than ever. I'm glad he asked this question. This is a damn good question, man. You know what keeps a strong house together? A strong black man, a strong Latino man, a strong First Nation man. And we're here to tell you, we don't just shift the blame and just say, oh, it's just the sisters, it's just the children. No, it starts with us. Because we messed up. Now everything is out of order. Started with Adam, following after his woman. Goes to show you we ain't supposed to do that. Not saying your woman can't have a great idea or suggestion for the household, but she can't make those, them groundbreaking decisions, you know what I mean, being head of household. Because the man is the head of house. Hold that too, I buy. Hold that as well. But the reason why our households are weak now is because strong brothers are not in the house. And I'm going to break down why they're not. Read what you got, I buy.
Okay. This is the book of Mark, 3, verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house.
No man can enter into a strong man's house. You know why you can't break in Hayah's house? Because Hayah's a strong man, strong brother. You can't break into a strong man's house. Now imagine, he's got a criminal. He's scouring to go and see who he can prey on, who house he's going to go into. He don't want to go in there. He can't break in that strong man's house because that strong man's house is going to defend his house with his life. He will defend his wife. He will defend his children. He will defend the home as he should because he's a strong brother. And when you got strong brothers, man, that's keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, man, that's the last thing you want to do. Now, the scripture says, Christ, I believe this is Christ speaking, right? Christ is saying, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, that no man can enter into a strong man's house. You know why you can't really enter into that strong man's house? Because that strong man is going to defend his house with everything, with vigor, because he's supposed to. A strong man is required to die for his household. The same way how Christ died for the house of Israel, man. That black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman. Read on.
Oh God. And spoil his goods.
You can't come in that strong man's house and spoil his goods and take what belongs to him, because the strong man's going to fight. You can't just break in his house and rape his wife and kids and steal everything and possess it for yourself. You can't do that with a strong brother in the house. Now, in a perfect world, especially here at the Israelite School of I.S.U.P.K, that can't happen. But the problem is it's not a lot of strong men in the household now, especially in the world. Especially in the world. It's rare to find a strong man in the world that is in charge of his household. The reason why you don't have strong brothers in there now is to various different reasons, man. And I'm going to tell you what one of them reasons is. Keep going.
Oh God. And spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man.
He first bind the strong man. Meaning, you got to bind that strong man up. You got to, put him in prison. Put him on child support. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound like can you recall some of the things that happened to our people? In the early 1920s through the 1960s, right? Early 70s. The black and Latino household was number one. It was beating the white families as well, where we had, our households were together and these other nations could not stand it. Why do you think they start putting drugs in our community? Why do you think they started introducing different public assistance programs for the women and housing and Section 8? And what is the one thing that cannot be in that house if you are a sister that has stamps, that's getting assistance, that's on Section 8. Sister, you know? That's right. Give her a hand. A man can't be there. You know why that man can't be there? Because they had to bind that strong man. You have to get that man out. Because now that man is binded, that he's bound up, now that you done put him in jail, Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, with the 3 strikes law that they commissioned in the early 1990s. And that Broadway Joe Biden has had his name on every minor and major crime bill since 1972. This is strategic what they did to us. And they know this because they went in our records and saw this. This is what you have to do, bind the strong man. You got to put that brother in jail. You got to emasculate him. You got to make it seem like, you got to push him out the household. Now you got a lot of weak brothers that don't want to be a strong man and don't want to be the head of household. And what do? They reverse the roles. Now they telling sisters, you don't need a man. You make X amount of dollars. You got that 401k. You miss corporate America. You making all this. I'm going to ask every sister, what does that mean to how much money you have if somebody at night breaks in your house? You gonna fight him off? You gonna fight the devil off with your 401k and all the money you got? You gonna do it? Or you gonna call the police? A lot of the times it be the police that come and kill us. Ask Breonna Taylor. Ask Sandra Bland. Ask Vanessa Gillian. That wouldn't happen with a strong man in the household. That's why it's not about money and how much money, the woman makes, the sister makes. Me personally, I could not care. I want you to make more money than me. I do. I want you to go and get all the degrees, become as successful. A lot of you sisters have amazing opportunities, man, and jobs and going to school. But you let the oppressor pump your mind up that you don't need that brother. You need that man for that leadership and that protection, because there's things that we can do that y'all can't do. We're meant to die and defend the household. That's why the oppressor knew that he had to bind us to get us up out of the house. And look what happens when we're not in the house. Look what happened just because they removed the black man and Latino man from the household. more single mothers with multiple children, more children dropping out of school, selling drugs. Can you imagine? Could you imagine a lot of you young brothers out there that sell drugs? Could you sell? Do you think you would have been a drug dealer selling drugs out your mama house if your father lived there and if he was in his right mind? No, you wouldn't. But the oppressor knew he had to bind that strong man, that you got to get that strong brother out the way. Now the household is vulnerable. Now the children are more susceptible to what? To what? All the wicked vices that the oppressor has. That's why they push homosexuality. That's why they push, you know what I mean, drugs, you know what I mean, and gun violence and all that garbage on the TV. Because if mom is working 2 and 3 jobs and being Miss Corporate America, who's watching and raising the children? The oppressor is through that television, through that TikTok, through that Instagram, through that Twitter. And they're telling our babies at a young age, if you're a sister, you don't need a man when you grow up. And if you're a young boy, you don't want to grow up and be one. That's why strong men are needed. That's why Christ said that no man can break into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, lest he first bind the strong man. Now that you bind that strong man up, your house is vulnerable. It's vulnerable. And that is our houses in the world today, because there ain't no strong brothers in the household. For the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohanna, because we rebuilding these strong households, man, by putting strong brothers back in these households and taking care of their wives and their children, man, and doing what we have to do. You have to be that example. You have to be that strong brother in that household and say, baby, we ain't celebrating Halloween. Baby girl, young brother, you know what I mean, son, we ain't celebrating Halloween. We ain't celebrating Christmas. We're not doing birthdays and Thanksgiving because our God said so. And guess what? That house will thrive. That house will live. All you got to do, got to have that strong brother in the household. It's essential. We need it. The reason why, and that's how you upkeep it. That's why as a brother, man, and you coming up in this truth and you have wives and children, man, you have to be right. And then you have to teach them to be right. You got to hold that house down and keep it in order. That's the only way it's going to thrive. And whoever comes for you, you best believe you're going to have to defend it. And here's the beautiful part of it. You don't have to defend that house alone because we are one. You come for I.S.U.P.K's house, you best believe you coming from my house as well. You come, you know what I mean, for young man Alex's house, you coming from my house as well. You come from my sister's house, guess what? Even if you are a sister in the school and you don't have a husband, you are the responsibility of the priest. And you will be protected. You will be accounted for. Ain't nobody gonna be able to run up in your spot. That's why it is important, man, because now that's being pushed, and it goes into the topic too. Look at what happens in Black Panther. Spoiler alert, T'Challa, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? The brother Chad Boseman, may he rise again. He's dead. He's gone. But in the movie, now they pushing Shuri, his little sister. Now she has to be strong and masculine. Like it ain't no other strong brothers in Wakanda, I.S.U.P.K. They all got to rely on their sister. How evil is that? How evil is that? You know what that's equated to, I.S.U.P.K? That's like me and my woman in the house, right? And we both sleep, and the kids sleep. And I hear something at night. And she says, baby, I heard something. Oh, I know. Why don't you go downstairs and fight that defender off while I sit up here in the covers? You see how weak that sounds and looks? That's what the oppressor wants. That's what they want. And that's not how it's supposed to be. There is a natural order when it comes to this. Is there any more on that about? Go ahead. Keep going.
And then he will spoil his house.
Then he will spoil his house. Our houses are spoiled now. Now the oppressor runs the household. He runs the household. Sister, you think you run the household because you make an X amount of dollars. No, you don't. You want to know why you don't run the household? Because when you don't get your way, who do you call? You call that white daddy. You mad at that brother, you don't want to listen to him, you call that oppressor. You call 911. They lock the brother up or kill him. And then you wondering why when the oppressor come back to rape you and kill you and eat you up like Jeffrey Dahmer, why you ain't got no protection. That's why we got to get back to the natural order of things and why important it is, man. Go to the other scripture I asked for. This is the natural order of things. Go ahead.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians 11, verse 3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
The head of every man is Christ. The head of every Black, Latino, and First Nation man is Jesus Christ. Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Yahweh Shai is Christ's name, man. Yahweh Shai is the head of every Black, Latino, and First Nation man, man. Keep going.
And the head of the woman is the man.
And the head of the woman is who?
The man.
The head of the woman is the man. Like it or not, there is no such thing as equality between men and women. There's not. The woman is the weaker vessel. And you got to understand that, brothers. It don't mean you get to treat them any type of way, beat on them, can't do that. That's unlawful. That's against the scriptures. Ain't mean you just talk to them any type of way, and vice versa to you sisters. But goddamn, there is a hierarchy here. That man is over the woman. And sisters, you got to submit yourself to that man. Like sex is marriage, man. When you lay down with that brother is your husband, man. You got to listen to that brother if you have a righteous brother. The only way, you know what I mean, you can disobey that brother is unless he is asking you to do something that goes against God. That is unlawful. He says, oh, man, you know, we eating this pork tonight. You're like, nah, my Lord, we ain't doing that. I can't eat that pork. Can't celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving, you know what I mean, and Halloween. She can go against her husband for that. But understand this, man. And that's why it's important. Since you got to submit yourself to that brother, because that's the brother you chose to open yourself up to come into you. That man is now your head. And if he's a righteous man, submit to him, man. Listen to him. Listen to that brother, man. And here's the thing. Some sisters look at submission like, oh, I'm about to be a slave. Stop being over dramatic. You're not a slave to that brother, especially to a righteous man. You're not. You're not a slave to him. You are not. You're not getting beat. You're not getting raped. You're not getting abused. That's not what's going down. That brother is there for a reason, man, and you should heed to his righteous counsel, man. A lot of the time, that brother know more than you and can analyze the situation in different angles that you cannot see. The least you can do when he comes off from that long day of work is make him a sandwich. Let him play the game in peace. Don't nag him 24/7. Like, goddamn. That's why it is essential to realize, man, like sisters just look at it like, oh, I'm weak because I'm submitting myself. No, you're not. Submission is the greatest thing a woman can do to that man, because it lets you know. And here's the thing. And if you won't submit yourself to that black man, you know who you do submit yourself to? That white man. You say, yes, sir, at that job. You smile when you don't want to at that job. You don't give him lip and attitude. And here's the thing, man. That's an evil thing. And brother, that's why it's important for us to be strong and to be righteous and to be men worthy of that submission, man. And sisters will recognize that. That's why you got to be that nigga at home. You got to be that authority figure at home. You have to be. You have to be that brother that is well respected and well renowned. And the only way you can do that is coming into the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. That's why it's important to realize, man, that Christ is the head of man, and the head of every woman is the man. You're not over that man. The last time, and I bring this up, because it's real. Adam, you know what I mean, wasn't in transgression. Eve was. But Adam got in trouble because he listened to Eve and followed after the white man and these other nations, man. When they talk about eating the fruit, you know what I mean, of the garden, that's following after the philosophies of the oppressor in these other nations, man. Because Adam did that, that's what brought sin in the world. That's why it's important, man, brother. You cannot fall weak under that system. You can't. You cannot. That's why you got to be strong and rational. That's why Christ said no man can enter into a strong man's house lest you first bind the strong man. A lot of you brothers get bounded up, man, and that's over. Now the household has to suffer. That's why we got to be strong, man. The head of every woman is the man. Read on.
And the head of Christ is God.
And the head of Christ is God. And guess what, man? And the head of Christ, Yahweh Shah, is Yahweh. That's the Most High's name, Yahweh. That's our God. He's the head of Christ. And we have to defend this, man. We got to stand on this. So if you a black man or a Latino man or a First Nation man, you got to be the head of your household. And for a lot of brothers, man, let me speak to the brothers real quick. It starts with growing up. It does. You got to grow up, man. You have to grow up and realize, man, that this lifestyle that they're putting out there for the oppressor, you know what I mean, in these other nations, like I halfway, and it's heavy too, Bob, because we accept accountability. A lot of the problems can be solved by just us fixing ourselves as brothers. You want to stop having whores, the whore problem, and OnlyFans, and women wanting to be whores, brothers, let's stop liking whores. Stop subscribing to them OnlyFans, Alex. You know what I mean? We're looking at their feet. I'm joking, of course. He doesn't do that. Doesn't do that. But here's the thing. We stop doing that, they'll stop being whores.
Right.
They'll go through their brain and be like, wait a minute. Brothers ain't liking this. They're not. What are they liking? Are they liking that dress? That long dress? The head wrap? Keeping my head covered? Okay. All right. That's what's important. We stop liking those things, guess what? Our women will follow. The children will follow. And we have to understand, man. We got to understand which is important. Give me the other one too, Ibad and Peter. I believe it's as Sarah called Abraham Lord. Let me get that one. Because which is so important, man, like Christ said, man, and Christ was quoting, you know what I mean, when Adam, you know what I mean, went on to Eve. And you know what I mean? And you got to realize, man, Eve was bone of thy bone, flesh of thy flesh of Adam, meaning that she wasn't made from Adam's actual rib. You know what I mean? She was Adam's family. You know, Adam went out in a deep sleep, you know what I mean, and went and, you know what I mean, and courted and married Eve. And then they became one flesh, and that became a family. That's the structure now. So when you have sex with that black woman, or that Latino woman, that First Nation woman, black Latino First Nation man, you're forming that family structure. Listen, and it ain't for every brother. Some brothers, it ain't nothing wrong with living like Paul, not having a wife, because our real wife is this truth. But when you go out there and you get multiple wives or get a wife and have children, you got to understand, man, that you have to be there for them. You have to be strong for them. You are the head of your household. I pray you understand. And sisters, it goes to you. You know what I mean? Submitting yourself onto that brother. And this is what Sarah did with Abraham. Read what you got.
Okay. This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 3, verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham.
Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham. Because, listen, man, and we're going to go into that too tonight. Sarah obeyed Abraham. Sarah wasn't, you know what I mean, Abraham, how come you ain't doing this? How come you ain't doing that? Nigga, you just, she wasn't doing that, none of that garbage. She wasn't. She obeyed Abraham, calling him what? Read on.
Calling him Lord.
Calling him Lord, man. Calling him Lord. God damn, like a lot of y'all got names like, oh baby, oh boo. Call your husband Lord. You want your husband to take out the damn trash and get off the game. Go in there and be like, my Lord, will you please? Watch the trash get taken out. Watch. I don't think y'all understand the power that you have in your femininity, because you trying to be masculine. You ain't gonna out masculine me. You can't come up to me when I'm playing Madden and talk about, nigga, you gonna get off that game and go take that mom trash out. I'm looking at you like, all right, sis. All right, I hear you. I'll get up there and do it when I want to. But sis, when you come in there with that soft voice, I mean, you come in there with that soft voice and them eyes looking as good as y'all look. You know what I mean? And talking about, Slakia, my Lord. Slakia, baby. My Lord, Daddy, can you please, as soon as you get to you please, whatever you want, it needs to get done. 9 times out of 10, that brother going to do it. He going to do it. That's Sarah calling Abraham Lord. You don't understand the power you got in that femininity. I'm trying to tell you. Put on some of that Tazariak oil, you know what I mean? And that body butter or whatever. You can get whatever you want. Slakia. Go ahead. Keep going, Ibad.
Whose daughters ye are.
Ye's daughters ye are. You are the daughters of Sarah, Latina woman, First Nation woman, black woman. You ain't the daughters of them damn Africans. You ain't the daughters of the Arabs or the oppressor. You're the daughters of Sarah, man. And it's the way you got to conduct yourself. You got to submit yourself under that brother. Keep going.
Okay. As long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement.
As long as you do well and are not afraid in any amazement, man, don't be afraid of submitting unto your brother and letting that brother lead you, man. That's his job. It is a man's job to lead and provide and be the head of his household, man. There any more?
That was it for Sarah.
Go ahead for Abraham.
Okay.
Blicky. Read a little bit more.
Okay. Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands.
Likewise, ye husbands. Likewise, ye husbands, what? Keep going.
Dwell with them according to knowledge.
Dwell with them according to knowledge. When you with your wives, man, and in your households, man, dwell with them according to knowledge. Understand that they are the weaker vessel. You don't treat them like soldiers. Don't do that because they're not soldiers. They're not built like that. They're not. You're not building up a soldier. You're not supposed to have your wife be a soldier in that house. You're not. Keep going.
Giving honor unto the wife.
Giving honor unto the wife, man, because your wife deserves honor. You had sex with that woman. A lot of brothers got good women too, man. A lot of you brothers have good women and you treat them like garbage. And you got a lot of sisters that got good men and you treat them like garbage. I'm gonna speak to both real quick. Brother, if you got a good woman, man, you got to do better. And you know how you do better? You come up in here, get right, change your life, and keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and be that man that God and our King Yahweh Shah Mashiach intended you to be, man. Since you got to be that woman that our God intended you to be. So you got to give honor unto that wife, man. Give honor unto her. Respect her. Love her. Don't talk to her any type of way. Don't put your hands on her. You know what I mean? Give honor unto her. A lot of you got good women too, man, that is just go out, do what they got to do, take care of the kids, bringing the money home and everything. Give honor unto them. Keep going.
As unto the weaker vessel.
As unto the weaker vessel, because they are the weaker vessel. They are. They are. And not built like we are. Keep going.
And as being heirs together of the grace of life.
We are heirs together in the grace of life. You know what that grace is? Christ giving up his life so we could come back to our God. Christ giving up his life so we could come back to our identity and our culture and be that strong head of household. And so you could be that strong sister that's submitting to our husband, man. Chris, I hope that answers your question. Now, if I could, let me know if that answered this question I bought. Now, if I could, where was I? Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. And that's what we got to realize, man, as the Lord's chosen people. As the Lord's chosen people. These other nations, right? They don't have that with them. Like you don't see, you know what I mean? You know, the Chinese, they look out for each other. The Japanese look out for each other. The Africans look out for each other. We have to do that. For some reason, we look at one another like we're ops. Like I look at young brothers like, yeah, that's my op. I had a young brother, I.S.U.P.K, was there at camp, say his father was his op, his opposition. I was like, it felt like the earth stood still.
Right.
First of all, man, and I'm gonna speak to every brother, every sister. I can never be your op. I'm your damn brother, man. Right. You my sister, you my brother. Like we not each other's opposition. You know who our ops are? The Africans. You know who our ops are? The Arabs, the Asians, the oppressor. The Hawaiians and Tongans and Polynesians and Filipinos. They're our ops. And what we got to realize, man, God does not love them. God loved us. And he made us to be better than them. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you that we are better than these other nations. Read what you got. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6.
Come on, for thou art an holy people.
God said, for thou art a holy people. Holy meaning separate, set apart. You look at the Bible, right? Called the Holy Bible. Right. Holy means set apart. Ain't your mama, your auntie with that crazy looking feathered hat on in church. It's not that. It ain't your pastor or your imam with the white robe on and gown. Holy means to be separate, set apart. Keep going.
People unto the Lord.
Unto the Lord, man. We are a holy people unto the Lord. Keep going.
Thy God.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people.
God chose us to be a special people. Special people. Who's more special than blacks and Latinos, man? Who's more special than us? Nobody. These other nations can't touch us, man. And they know it. They can't hit a baseball better than a Latino brother. They can't shoot a basketball better than a black man. You know what I mean? They can't do nothing better than us. They're not smarter than us. That's another thing. They like to say, oh, but y'all got the athletics. Let me tell you something. You know why the white man can go to the moon now? Black women. Right. Black women sent the oppressor to the moon. Right. I'm not making this up, man. Black women did that. Of the tribe. Listen, man. and which is so heavy, man, which goes to show you. That's what makes us a special people. Keep going, read on.
Himself above all people.
Above what?
Above all people.
Above all people. We are above all people, man. We are above the so-called Africans. We are above the Asians. We are above the oppressors, man. There ain't no such thing as equality. God said that we are above all people. Read on.
Above all people that are upon the face of the
that
earth.
Upon the face of the earth. We are above everybody. We are above these other nations, man. And it's about time that we realize it, man, and come back to that. God said that we are above these heathens, man. We are. They're not equal with us. And that's what makes movies like the Black Panther so wicked. Because now they're pitting Issachar against Judah. That is the depiction in the movie. That is the depiction. They want to cause more division. When we are not each other's ops, Latino man, black man, and woman. Nosotros somos familia. We are family. We are God's chosen people, man. And it's time that we stop having this animosity towards one another, man. The last thing that these other nations want us to do is come back to our identity. That's why they're so mad at Kyrie Irving and Kanye West. They're so mad at us, at us. They're like, man, we got to do something. We got to take Adidas away. We got to take Nike away. We got to take away their endorsements. They mad because Kyrie posted that link from Hebrews to Negroes. God damn. He posted a movie link, a documentary, posted a book. Ooh-wee. Here's the thing, man. And which is so heavy about it, shows you how fragile they are. They can't disprove us not being the Jews, and they can't prove themselves being Jews. That's why they say, oh, you're anti-Semitic. We're going to break that down too. Right. Because we can't be anti-Semitic. Like Kyrie said, I can't be anti-myself, like Ye said. How can I be anti-myself? We have to understand two crucial things. They try to tell us that we're African-American, which is not true. We're not descendants of Leo Scipios Africanus or Americus Vespucci. They're trying to tell us that we're Hamites, that we're Africans, and we're not. First of all, let me show you what the oppressor said out of his own book. We're about to go into something called the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Now, I advise everyone to pick up a Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary or a Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Now, we are not members of the Zondervan College. We did not write these books. We did not listen. We didn't have no say in this. This is what their white and Jewish scholars said, which is so heavy. Read what you know what I want, iPod.
Okay. This is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, page 213.
Alex, hold Jeremiah 14 and verse 2.
Ham, the youngest son of Noah.
Stop. Ham, the youngest son of Noah. Noah had 3 sons. I buy whole First Chronicles, the first chapter. Okay. Well, we need to realize, right? Noah had 3 sons: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, the so-called Japhites today are the Tongans, Polynesians, Samoans, and Hawaiians. They're the Japhites. Now, the so-called Hamites. Let's keep going, iPod.
Okay. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood.
He was born about 96 years before the flood. Keep going. The flood that flooded the earth, because the Lord flooded the earth, by the way, because of interracial marriage.
Right.
That's another reason why God can't love everybody, because God flooded the earth about interracial marriage, iPod.
That's right.
He said he saw the sons of God. He said the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. The sons of God were the sons of Adam, because the Lord is the one that chose Adam. Adam was not the first man on earth. Mankind was made on the 6th day. Adam was risen up from the dust. When he was risen up from the dust, he was risen up from a low state. God didn't just make him out of dust. Adam was already a man. He grabbed Adam and gave him the truth, gave him the law. Adam was the first man God was dealing with. That's why Adam was risen up from the dust, from a low state. and Adam's sons, because Adam was who the Lord was dealing with. They saw the daughters of these other nations, and God got so mad, he flooded the earth. Where is the equality in that? There isn't. But I digress. That's for another class, unless anybody has a question on it. Keep going.
And one of 8 persons to live through the flood.
One of 8 persons to live through the flood, Noah and his wife, Japheth and his wife, you know what I mean, Ham and his wife, and Shem. We're going to get to Shem in a second. Keep going.
He became the progenitor of the dark race.
He became the progenitor of who?
The dark race.
Now, Ham became the progenitor of the dark races. Now, you hear that, right? And you'll just say, oh, we're a dark race. We have to be Hamitic, right? You would think so, because Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, of the people that have a darker skin tone, that have darker melanin. Let's keep going.
Not the Negro.
Read that again.
Not the Negro.
Not who?
The Negroes.
Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes. Not the niggas. So Ham's the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negro. Who are the Negroes? The Jews.
Right.
Of the tribe of Judah. It's also talking about Benjamin from the West Indian Islands. It's also talking about Levi, the so-called Haitians, because we're Jews. And we're also not Hamites, not the Negroes.
Right.
Meaning Negro, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. We're not African. We're not Hamites. Now it's going to explain who the Hamites are. Keep going.
But the Egyptians.
But the who?
The Egyptians.
Who we're going to go into the Egyptians tonight. I'm going to them Africans, man. I'm about to say something I can't say. You got to catch me. Get ready to say something that's going to get our channel taken down. Not the Egyptians. You know who the Egyptians are today? The Egyptians today are not the Arabs that live in Egypt. If you go down to the North and South Sudan, right? You know what I mean? If you go to the North and South Sudan, those Africans there that are eating mud pies, those are the real Egyptians. Mizraim in the Bible, in the Hebrew, Matazaria. They're the real Egyptians, man. The Africans live in the North and South Sudan. They're the ones that had us in slavery in Egypt all those years ago. Read. Ethiopians. Wait a minute. Ethiopians. Now, the Ethiopians are Cush. That's another son of Ham. Cush. That's who the Ethiopians are today. The Ethiopians are not Jews. So you see, oh, they're Phalasha Jews. They're not Jews. Solomon did not have sex and marry the queen of Sheba. He did not do that. Haile Selassie was not an Israelite. He was not a Jew. He was a Cushite. He was a damn African. Nipsey Hussle is not an Israelite. He was not a Jew. He was not a black man. Nipsey Hussle was an Eritrean, who are also Ethiopians. Nipsey Hussle was of the lineage of Ham, of Cush. Y'all love Nipsey. I ain't got no rap for Africans like that. Fuck them. Slacking for the language. Understand this, man. And what we need to realize, man, they trying to take our identity right now.
Right.
And listen, man, he died like a nigga, though. I'll give him that. He died like one of us out there trying to live like us. But the Ethiopians, Cush, keep going.
Oh God.
Libyans are the North Africans, Morocco, you know what I mean? Libya, not Haile Selassie, Muammar Gaddafi. That's who the Libyans are. Foot. That's what they're called biblically in the Hebrew. Go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
And Canaanites.
And the Canaanites, one of our oldest enemies, man. The so-called Canaanites today are the so-called South Africans.
Right.
The so-called South Africans are the Canaanites today. A lot of them West Africans too, man. Out there in Nigeria and Ghana, you know what I mean, in Algeria, they're the Canaanites. They're the Canaanites. And what we got to understand, man, we're not African. We're not Hamites. Now, this is who we... Matter of fact, before we go there, No, I'm gonna go to you first, Ibad. Go to First Chronicles, right? First chapter. Bobbity. If y'all got any questions in the room, I'll take your questions in the room, or any questions online. I'll be answering your questions. Ibad, give me the descendants of Shem. Start there.
Okay. This is the book of First Chronicles, chapter 1, and verse 24. Shem, Arphaxad said, Shelah,
Eber. Now, Shem. Shem was a son of Noah, who we come from. And these are some of the sons of Shem. Shem, his son Arphaxad, Shelah, Eber. Eber is where the Hebrew comes from. Am I right, Ibad?
okay.
Eber is where the Hebrew comes from, the Ibaria. That's where we get that from. Eber, who's a son of Shem. Keep going.
Okay. Philan.
Go ahead.
Reu. Sarah. Nahor. Terah. Abram. The same as Abraham.
Ooh, who?
Abram.
The same as who?
Abraham.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. Let's dial that. Abram. And his name was later changed to Abraham. Abraham in the Hebrew. Guess what? Abraham was a black man. Abraham is our forefather. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, before we get to you, Alex, Bob, give me what I asked for in the give me what I asked for in the Josephus.
Okay.
Give what I asked for in the Josephus.
This is the works of the Josephus.
The works of the Josephus. Go ahead.
Page
Now, Josephus was an Israelite. He was a black man. Josephus would be like a news reporter today, a journalist, going around, you know what I mean, with the history and filling in the blanks, you know what I mean, outside of the Bible. Go ahead.
Okay. Page 39. He communicated to them arithmetic.
Now, he communicated to them arithmetic. Abraham went into Egypt. Now, Abraham, you know what I mean, went up into Egypt. I should go to there in the, I'll give you the backdrop. Abraham had to go into Egypt, right, through the famine and all that, with his wife. You know what I mean? Pharaoh tried to, you know what I mean, crack on his right. The Lord had to reveal, like, yo, that's Abraham, that's his wife. You know, Pharaoh was like, look, I got to get the hell out of it. You know what I mean? He knew. But Abraham spent some time in Egypt. And while Abraham was in Egypt, guess what? He did what, Ibad?
He communicated to them arithmetic.
Arithmetic. Alexa, what is the definition of arithmetic?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, arithmetic is a branch of mathematics that deals with the manipulation and the properties of numbers.
You mean to tell me that Abraham was giving to them math?
Right.
He was giving them math and science? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me Abraham was knowledgeable like that? But wait a minute. Don't they tell us, wait a minute. Don't they tell us, but the science of Egypt, the ancient math and the alphabet, Ma'at, Osiris, Ra, Akhenaten, Set. It's another gay god they got. Omon. You mean to tell me a black man by the name of Abraham, our forefather, had to go and teach them arithmetic, teach them math, teach them science? Ooh-wee. Keep going.
Okay. And delivered to them the science of astronomy.
Read that last line again.
And delivered to them the science of astronomy.
And delivered them the science of astronomy. Meaning the Egyptians were dumb. Like a lot of y'all look at Egypt and their civilization like, oh, here's the thing. Everything great that was about Egypt and why they became so great and all that garbage was because the Most High rose them up to be destroyed. And a black man by the name of Abraham, our forefather, had to go in there and teach them, man.
Right.
Had to go in there and teach them knowledge, teach them science of astronomy, man. Had to let them know, like, yo, this is how you navigate, you know what I mean? This is how you get to point A and point B, man. How you look through the stars, and they wasn't worshiping the stars neither. It goes to show you, Abraham was trying to show them it. This is how you get to point B. This is how you get from here to there, east to west, north to south. The Egyptians wouldn't have made gods out of it like God and then do some gay stuff in it when Abraham left. Understand this. Abraham had to teach them science, man, and of astronomy. Keep going.
Okay. For before Abraham came into Egypt, they were unacquainted with those parts of
Them
learning.
Africans were unacquainted with what?
With those parts of learning.
They were unacquainted with those parts of learning. Now, this is what's so dangerous about this. When you watch Black Panther, they say, oh, the Africans of Wakanda are so technologically advanced. They got vibranium. They got this science, and which is so heavy about it, and which is just so heavy. Everything that was great about them, a brother had to give with our forefather Abraham. But then in movies, in depictions, they try to make it seem like the Africans are just so advanced. No, the hell they not.
Right.
No, they are not. I'm here to tell you something, man, that a lot of those things that go on in Africa would disgust you.
Right.
Like me and like Bob was watching this video one time, just stumbled across this village on how they keep like wild animals as pets. Remember that video like Bob, like snakes, pythons, cobras, hyenas, and lions, and they be attacking them and living together. You know, Africans believe that if you eat the albinos amongst them, that if you eat them, you get special powers. Am I making this up like Bob? I'm not. Look this up. They believe if they eat the albinos amongst their people, they will get special mystical powers. They think they're gonna become the Black Panther, Al. They think they're about to become, you know what I mean? Like they think M'Baku about to become the great white ape for sure. It's lucky. Goes to show you, man. They was not acquainted with knowledge. They wasn't. Because they wasn't as technologically advanced as you may think. Abraham had to go in there and teach them some things. As a matter of fact, how they did things before Abraham, it's going to explain. Keep going.
For the science came from the Chaldeans into Egypt.
The science came from the Chaldeans. That's where Abraham was from. Abraham lived in Chaldea, which is modern day Babylon, right? About Chaldea is modern day Babylon, where Abraham was from. Goes to show you that it was really nothing great about Egypt and these Africans. Black man had to come in there and show them some things. Keep going.
And from thence to the Greeks also.
And to the Greeks also. Oh, wait a minute. Also to the Greeks also. And who did the Greeks look up to? The Egyptians. The Romans looked up to the Greeks looked up to the Egyptians. And the Egyptians had to look to a black man, Abraham. And they looked to Babylon. Egypt looked to Babylon, and then the Romans and Greeks looked to them. Goddamn. And in the midst of all that, you got a righteous man, Abraham, just trying to help him out. Just trying to show him some things. Keep going.
That was into the highlight part, sir.
That was into the highlight part? Mm-hmm. Now, they was unacquainted with that, with those forms of knowledge, man. They weren't. Let me see it. I think a little bit more. Might be a little bit more. And which is just so heavy about it, man. And this is the book, too. I advise everybody to get this book, too. The Josephus, the works of Josephus, just so y'all can have it. Now, which is heavy about it, right? Well, our people need to understand about, you know what I mean, all of this. The fact of the matter is this. Our forefather, Abraham, had to go in there and teach them some stuff because they had no idea. Now, how do you think the Egyptians responded when it came to us, when we had to come into Egypt for famine? I'll tell you. I believe you know what I want.
Okay.
It's in Exodus.
Right.
But first, let me deal with us being the Jews. Give me Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2, Alex. Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2. As a matter of fact, I forgot. Read this too. Where I got the dot. Read that. See where I got that dot? We in read 2? I knew it was something else I missed. I should have highlighted it a little bit more. Start there. Before we go to Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2. I want to read a little bit more of this.
Oh, I see, sir.
See it?
For whereas the Egyptians were formerly addicted to different customs and despised one another's sacred.
Okay, the Egyptians were what?
For whereas the Egyptians were formerly addicted to different customs.
The Egyptians were addicted to different customs, meaning they had more than one God, they had more than one ways of doing things. They were not on one accord. Keep going.
And despised one another's sacred and accustomed rights.
And despised one another's different and accustomed rights. They hated each other. That's why their gods were always beefing with each other. Like their one god, Set, had to say to, what's that god's name? Wasn't Osiris. Set said to one of their gods in their text that he has no power over me because I copulate in his buttocks. Because I'm not making this up. Y'all can look it up. The Egyptians was beefing with each other so bad that they was making their gods gang rape other gods and GMSing, my bad, goddamn. Like Salakia. These are people void of truth and knowledge and understanding, man. Keep going.
Okay. And were very angry one with another.
They was angry with each other because they had no real knowledge. They had no understanding. Go ahead.
On that account.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham conferred with each of them.
Abraham. This is talking about Abraham, man. This is before Abraham became Abraham. This is before the Lord was dealing with Abraham. He was still Abraham. Go ahead.
And confuting the reasons they made use of.
Abraham went in there and checked them and said, yo, how y'all doing things, how y'all moving is wrong. You're wrong about this. You're wrong about this. Let me show you how it's done. Go ahead.
Everyone for their own practices.
He said, every one of their own practices. He said, all this gay stuff you're doing is wrong. All this gay stuff you're doing is wrong. Do you believe, right? You can look this up. And y'all want to be African so bad? The Egyptians believed that if a woman was infertile, she couldn't get pregnant, that they would go down to the Nile and grab crocodile feces and rub it in their vaginas. You can look this up. Y'all still want to be African? Sisters, y'all know damn well that if you say, I'm trying to have a baby and you having trouble, and then Futu or Nungala tell you and your husband to go down to the Nile and get some crocodile feces and rub it on your vagina, you're going to be like, nigga, no. It ain't going down. Because we're not African. Everything I'm saying you can look up. You can look this up. Keep going, Ibad.
Kawakana demonstrated that such reasonings were vain and void of truth.
The Africans' reasons were what?
Vain and void of truth.
He's saying their ways, their philosophies, their gods were vain and void of truth. Meaning they were nothing. They were nothing and had no truth. There's no truth in Kemet. There's no truth in Egyptology or any form of African spirituality. There's no truth in none of that garbage, man. There's no truth in it. But let me give you a truth that is actually real. Let me give you a truth which is real, man, and what we got to realize, and that is the identity of who the real Jews are, and to prove that we are not African. Alex, give me Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2.
Go ahead.
The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah, conquering the Judah, and the gates therefore languished.
Read it again from the top.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2. The word of the Lord that came.
Are you in verse 2? Read verse 2.
Yeah.
You are not at verse 2. You read verse 1. Read verse 2. Read verse 2. Yeah, Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2. Go ahead.
Therefore language they are black onto the ground.
I said read it from the top. Judah.
Oh, sorry. Judah mourneth.
Judah mourneth. The Bible says the Jews are in mourning, meaning this cannot be talking about Goldberg or Heisenberg or Rosenbaum. They're not mourning. They get over $60 billion from America and over $55 billion from Germany. What do they have to mourn over? They have Hollywood, the Diamond District. They're not mourning in Brooklyn. They're not mourning, you know what I mean, sending their kids to those yeshivas, man, to their own private schools. They're not mourning. But black man and woman, we're mourning. Latino man and woman, we're mourning. First Nation and Seminole Indian man and woman, we're mourning. Judah mourneth, man. And first of all, if you got a homie named Daniel, you may call him Danny for short. You know what I mean? Tyrone, you may call him Ty or Rome. Judah, what's short for Judah? Jew. The Jews are in mourning. We're the ones in mourning in the ghetto. We're the ones in mourning in the barrio. We're the ones that are mourning in the reservation, which are concentration camps. Judah mourneth, read on.
And the gates therefore languish.
And the gates therefore languish. Our gates languish. Our gates suffer. Why do our gates suffer? Because we don't. Our gates suffer because we don't want to come out that Christian church. We don't want to realize that the Christian church has failed blacks and Latinos. That the Muslim mosques has failed our people. Our leadership languishes, man, because there ain't no righteous leadership for blacks and Latinos except for the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under command of General Yohanna. Our gates therefore languish. Read on.
They are black onto the ground.
The Jews are what?
Black.
The Jews are black.
That's right.
The Jews are black. Listen, man, we are the Jews, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. I'll give you another one. Give me Song of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5. The Jews are black unto the ground. You break that ground up, you'll see different derivatives of black and brown, down to the sandy Puerto Ricans, down to, you know what I mean, a lot of dark-skinned brothers that we got now, man, even Christ. Listen, man, the scriptures say in Revelations 1 in chapter 13 through 15 that Christ, you know what I mean, was a dark-skinned brother, man. That is, you know what I mean, his feet was like fine brass that they burned in a furnace. Your feet is the lightest part of your body. If his feet was like fine brass, if you ever look at a penny, that's brown, and it was burned in a furnace. You know, you burn anything, it's going to turn black. In the Bible, it says Christ's feet was so dark that it looked like it was burned in the furnace, man. Good night. Goes to show you, man. Daniel 7 and 9 says God is black. The Most High Yahweh is a black man in spirit. Let me give you another one. Wait, read Song of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5. We read in Jeremiah 14 and verse 2 that the Jews are black. Latino man, Seminole Indian, First Nation man, black man and woman. We are the real Jews, man, and the Jews are black. Go ahead.
This is the book of the Psalm, chapter 1, verse 5.
Go ahead.
I am blessed.
Solomon said, I'm what?
I am blessed.
Solomon said, I am black. Solomon is the son of David, King David.
Right.
Now, if Solomon is a black man, that means David is a black man because you are the seed of your father. David was a black man. Solomon is saying, I am black. And if Solomon's black, wait a minute. Hold up. 1 second. First of all, Christ is from that lineage, man. As a matter of fact, in the regeneration, like Christ was here before. Christ was Adam. Christ was Melchizedek. Christ was Isaac. Christ was Solomon. He came back through his father Joseph, to that lineage, meaning Joseph was a black man too. I mean, Christ was a black man. Solomon saying, I am black. Read it again from the top,
I am black.
I am black. Like Shalom. It's in the Bible. It's in the Torah and the Tanakh, Ibad. He said, I am black. Read on.
But comely.
But what?
Comely.
What does comely mean? Comely means beautiful. Solomon said, I am black, but comely. I'm black and beautiful. That's what Solomon's saying. God damn, didn't James Brown say I'm black and I'm proud? Solomon's saying, listen, man, I'm black and beautiful. Listen, man, I was in the club with I.S.U.P.K a couple of weeks ago. I.S.U.P.K was like telling the sisters, listen, says, I'm black and beautiful. The mother brothers, they just black. Salaki, I.S.U.P.K did not say that. Just a little joke, little humor. But it goes to show you, man. Solomon said, I am black and beautiful. The Jews are black. We're not African. There's a difference. We read it in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary that Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born 96 years from, before the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. And Negroes meaning black man and woman. And the Jews are black. So we come from the lineage of Shem. We read that as well. We're Shemitic. That's where Semitic comes from, Shem. So how can I be anti-black? Sis, how can you be anti-black? We're black. Alex is black, like it or not. Black is a condition that we're in.
Right.
Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Because the Jews are black. I pray you understand. So the oppressor saying that we're anti-Shemitic, that's impossible. I can't be anti myself.
Right.
I can't do that. Can't go against myself. Now, a lot of you Christians try it too. You do it. You whore yourself out for that oppressor. That's why it's important for us to realize, man, that we ain't no damn African. Don't you realize that Africans can't stand us? Don't you realize that Africans hate us? Like, Africans hate the ground we walk on. Like, these other nations hate us too. Like, the oppressor hates us the most, but Africans hate us too. They got a word for us, and it's called akata. Akata meaning cotton picker. Now, if I could, give me Exodus, right? Give me Exodus chapter 1 and verse 8.
Okay. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 8. Now, there arose up a new king over Egypt.
Now, when we were in Egypt, right? How we got there, we walked into Egypt. We walked into Egypt about 70 deep. Now, I mean, our brother, man, Joseph. And Joseph is the forefather of Ephraim and Manasseh. That's who Ephraim and Manasseh come from, their father, Joseph. So, Joseph died. Joseph was the second in command under Pharaoh. And we were living in Egypt. And guess what? We were separated too. We were separated. And what we need to realize, hold up, let me get that scripture. Let me get that scripture for you real quick. Let me get that scripture. Because that's another thing too, man. How were you at, I.S.U.P.K?
Okay.
How were you at? Because I'm going to show you right now. We're going to go into this tonight. Young man Alex, give me I believe it's in Exodus. Give me Genesis chapter 45. Give me Genesis chapter 45 and verse 10. Yeah, give me Genesis chapter 45 and verse 10. Because, I mean, we're going to go there first, We're going to come back to this. But we got to realize, right, when we went into Egypt, right, we wasn't just living all kumbaya, all together with them. We were separated from the Egyptians, man. We were separated from them. And what we got to realize, man, is go to show you separation is good.
Right.
Because we did not live arm in arm, hand in hand with the Egyptians. We had our own land over there in Egypt. It was called Goshen. Give me Genesis, the 45th chapter and the 10th verse. Yeah, Genesis 45 and verse 10.
This book of Genesis, chapter 45, verse 10. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen.
Y'all shall dwell in the land of Goshen. Listen, give you a backdrop, right? Joseph gave us game. He said, yo, y'all come into Egypt, go to Pharaoh, right? Tell Pharaoh that y'all like, y'all sheep herders, you deal with cattle. Egyptians did not like dealing with cattle and with livestock. They thought it was beneath them. They hated it. They separated us. They put us in the land of Goshen, where we could thrive by ourselves. Read it again from the top.
And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen.
And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen. Listen, man, when we was in Goshen, guess what? We dwelt together. We wasn't intermingling with those heathens, man, with the Egyptians, with them Africans. He said, listen, man, we about to go up there, we about to be in the land of Goshen, and we're gonna be chilling. Keep going.
And thou shalt be near unto me.
And thou shalt be near unto me. Go ahead.
Thou and thy children and not.
Listen, man, which goes to show you which is heavy. When we got over there, we had our own section where we was living in the land of Goshen, chilling, because Pharaoh did not like that. Them Egyptians, man, did not like, dealing with the livestock and the cattle. They felt as though it was beneath them, so they separated us. We had our own portion. That'd be like us here in America. Imagine if we had like 3 states to ourselves. Like, could you imagine if all the tribes just had California and Mexico? Well, California is Mexico. Modern day California, Texas, Arizona. Imagine if we had all that. Goddamn. And was separate from America. Now, let's go back, I-Bot.
Okay.
Now, and Joseph was the second in command under Pharaoh. Joseph ended up dying. And Joseph was the forefather of Manasseh and Ephraim. Jacob ended up adopting Ephraim and Manasseh. That's why when you read about the 12 tribes of Israel, you see Ephraim and Manasseh and not Joseph. But here's the thing, Joseph can come back through Ephraim or Manasseh. Now, keep going.
Okay. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
Now, a new ruler of Egypt, a new ruler of these Africans came up, man, and he didn't know Joseph. He didn't know about all the great things Joseph did, because Joseph ended up saving Egypt from famine, man. And them Africans forgot all about that. They forgot about Joseph. Keep going.
Verse 9. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
What did he say?
The people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than
He said, listen, man, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. He said, they better than us. They stronger than us. They faster than us. They smarter than us. They was terrified of us, man. These Africans came together and said, hold up, man. These Latinos, these Native Americans, and these black men and women, these Israelites, these Jews are more and mightier than we.
Wow.
Does it sound like they're coming together to come have a picnic with us? To come and sit down and live hand in hand with us? No. Keep reading.
Verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
They said, let us deal wisely with them. Let us deal with them wisely. Because here's the thing. They understood something. They understood if they continued to let us thrive, that it would be dangerous. And they did not want that to happen. They said, we have to deal with them wisely. Like how they deal with us wisely here in America by pushing abortion. We'll get to that too. While they pushing the murders, man, pushing the drug dealing, pushing all these wicked things here in America. The Egyptians did it to us first, man. These Africans did this to us first. Keep going.
Oh God. Lest they multiply and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies.
They were so worried about us joining unto one of their enemies, man, and we keep multiplying because we was having babies like that. We was having kids like this. Keep going.
And fight against us.
Mm-hmm.
And so get them up out of the land.
He said, we got to get them up out of here, man. We got to do something about these Israelites, about these Jews. Keep going.
Verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters.
They set over us taskmasters, meaning they raised up some Uncle Tom niggas, some Uncle Tomahawks, some Uncle Tom Latinos, man, over us that loved Egypt, to look over us. Those taskmasters today would be your pastor, would be your imam. They'd be your Farrakhan's, your TD Jakes, your Creflo Dollars of the world. Read on.
To afflict them with their burdens.
To afflict us with our burdens. Now we're being afflicted with burdens. Now we are starting to transition into slavery in Egypt.
Right.
Read on.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities.
We built for Pharaoh treasure cities. Y'all look at the pyramids and all them different cities and how great they are. We built them, man. We built them off slave labor. We built them cities, man. We built for Pharaoh and them Africans treasure cities, not because we wanted to, because we were forced to. Read on.
Python and Ramses.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
Even though we were being afflicted, even though we were being punished and whipped, you know what I mean? We still was having children. We still was growing in number. Keep going.
And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
They were what?
Grieved.
They were grieved because of us. They were afflicting us, making our lives hell. We were still having kids and we were still strong. They had to put a stop to that. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
They made us serve with what?
Rigor.
Rigor. They made us serve with rigor. Alexa, what is the definition of rigor?
Rigor is usually defined as strictness, severity, or harshness.
Good night. Thank you, Alexa. Stop. Strictness, harshness, severity. God damn. They were cruel what they did to our people, man. Just like how they were cruel to us here in America. Where do you think the Greeks and the Romans and Americans got it from? They got it from the Egyptians. They got it from these Africans. And you want us to believe that we are African? We're not. Africans did not sell Africans into slavery. Right. Africans sold Israelites. Africans sold Jews. Read.
Okay. Verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
They made our lives bitter with hard slavery. That's what bondage is. Slavery. Hard slavery, man, under them stinking Africans, man. They made our lives hell. That's why when you see movies like The Woman King, don't you understand that don't you understand what those Africans did to us in The Woman King? That's based off a true story. How they would hunt us, kill us, rape the men, rape the women, castrate them, and sell us and our babies and women into slavery. Obama said it. Y'all remember when Obama went over there to the slave coast? He said, well, this place has a big significance for my wife, Michelle, and her people. Why didn't he say for me and Michelle and our people? Because Obama is not an Israelite. He's an African. Right. And Michelle Obama is not no damn African, man. She's an Israelite. She had no business marrying that African, that Hamite, man. That's why you ain't supposed to marry these heathens at all. They made our lives hell. Made our lives hell, man, with cruel slavery, bondage. Keep going.
And mortar and in brick.
Mortar and brick. What do we use with the mortar and the bricks to build what? Pyramids, treasure cities. Y'all be looking like, oh, the aliens did this. Oh, the giant people, the big-headed scientists, Yakub, and they made these pyramids. No. Niggas, Latinos, and Native American Indians built them goddamn pyramids, man. Through hard slavery with mortar and brick. We did that. It was back-breaking work. That's why when y'all be sitting there admiring the pyramid, my back start hurting. Wow. Because I can only imagine. In that sun, you know it get over 120, 30 degrees out there, which goes to show you, right? The oppressor can't sit in 80-degree weather without getting melanoma, without, you know what I mean, having sunscreen. You mean to tell me he was over there in Egypt in 120, 130-degree weather, you know what I mean, building up pyramids? He couldn't have. He wouldn't have made it. He's a liar. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man, we the ones that built them pyramids, man. We the ones that built them treasure cities for Egypt, man. Not because we wanted to, because we had to. Because we were in hard bondage, slavery, mortar and brick through rigor. Read on.
And in all manner of service in the field.
In all manner, read that last part.
And all manner of service in the field.
In all manner of service in the field. Meaning we was in slavery. We was in the fields, cotton, all that. Listen, man, which makes it heavy, man. Which makes it heavy. Alex, hold Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. Which goes to show you, man, like the Lord said we were going to go into Egypt again. I'm going to bring that scripture out in a second. But that's why it's important for us to realize our history and our identity and realize, man, that Wakanda nonsense, it ain't for us, man. It is evil. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. Not right now. Just hold on to it. But we need to understand, man, when you go and watch that movie, and what really makes it evil, man, is they pitting us against our own brothers, man. First of all, I'm a comic book junkie. Namor was not no damn Mexican in the comic books. He was a white man. Why do you think they made him Isupk in the movies? They made him Isupk, modeled him after that, so they can pit him against, you know what I mean? So they can pit blacks and Latinos in the world against each other, man. That movie was diabolical and shameful and evil, man. Right. Got silly Negroes coming out the theaters crying, doing this shit here. Oh, like, come on, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. We got to do better than this, man. Right. Got to understand, man, that them Africans don't give a damn about us. Right. And what you got to understand, man. Like, I watched that first one, and that first one was rough. That first one was rough on my spirit. Because it goes to show you, man. Like, even when you looked at Killmonger, hey, he looked like he snuck in the U.P.K, got his officership, and went and go kick T'Challa's ass. Lock it for the language. Goes to show you, man. Goes to show you. And then you got him open it up for all the oppressors at the end. I'm gonna tell you what messed me up. Maybe I was thinking too deep into it with that character M'Baku. And where he lived. Where did he live, Ibad? M'Baku lived in the mountains. Right. And if you notice, the M'Baku and his people, they look different from T'Challa and all them other Africans. They had beards. They were strong. They lived in the mountains. I said, God, like separate. I said, ooh. What did that? You know what that reminded me of? How we are. And we ain't the same as them. And that's just a damn movie. But what we got to realize, man, we had to flee, and we're going to go into it in Babylon and Timbuktu. You know what I mean? We fled into Africa. Just because we fled into there don't mean that we are Africans. We're not. We're not. They emasculated that brother too, man. The Winston Duke, the actor that played him, man, played M'Baku. Goes to show you, man, we ain't no damn African. And they're trying to destroy the image of the strong black man, the strong Latino man, and First Nation man. That's what they did with this movie, man. Turned the sister into a bull. Turned the sister into a lesbian. She even said that she struggled with even filming the movie and doing it because of her faith, because she knows lesbianism is wrong, man. And that sister Letitia that plays Shuri, she's from Guyana, man. She's a Benjamite sister. She's of the tribe of Benjamin. And it goes to show you, man, how evil Hollywood is and what they portray our people, man. And that's why we got to realize we ain't no damn Africans. Now you about to be looking at Africans like they better than us, and they're not. Africans oppressed us, man. And they oppress us to this very day. Keep going, Ibad. Where you at?
All their service wherein they were made to serve was with rigor.
All of our service, we were made to serve with rigor. Meaning every service that we did in our slavery in Egypt, it was rough. It was hard. Keep going.
Okay. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shipra, and the name of the other.
Now they came to our midwives. They came to the sisters that helped deliver babies. This is something that the oppressor, the white man, took from Africans. The Africans came up with something very diabolical that they're getting ready to do. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 16, and he said, when you do the office of a midwife.
Now they're telling the sisters, the Hebrew midwives, they're telling that black, Latina, and First Nation woman, when you do the office of a midwife, read on.
To the Hebrew woman, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son then ye shall kill him.
They said, if you sisters are delivering a baby and it's a son, ye shall kill him. Is that not abortion? This is in the Bible. This is in the Torah. This is in the Tanakh. And abortion is wrong according to God, man. Abortion is wrong according to God. And this is what these Africans said. Like, listen, man, they came to our sisters. They came to the midwives and said, yo, if they have a son, kill him. Got a question? Go ahead.
Isn't that also why back then when we had slavery, back like the 1800s, isn't that why they was killing our babies to see who died first? The baby.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
When they made that bet.
Yeah, they did, and it was more than that. They do it to this day. Why do you think there's a Planned Parenthood in every Black and Latino neighborhood? Why? Who asked for that? Like, don't we have other problems? Don't we need better community and better funding? Don't we need more urban gardens in our communities, more resources to food? Who the hell asked for the ability to murder your baby? Who asked for that? We didn't. Just like how we didn't ask for drugs to be put in our neighborhoods. Just like how we didn't ask for the guns. They do this because they hate us. They're taking a page from the Africans. And this is written thousands of years ago. This is in the Bible. They said that if it's a boy, if it's a Black or a Latino or First Nation boy, an Israelite man, kill him. Kill him. And abortion is wrong, man. That's why in Lamentations, I'm going to read this scripture. That goes to show you, man. Goes to show you. I was on Twitter the other day, man, and some sisters was joking about it. And it is an evil, heinous thing, man. The joke about abortion. The joke about, murdering babies. I don't play that garbage, man. God said this. God said in Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 3, even the sea monsters draw out the breast. Even the monsters of the deep know to take care and nourish their babies. The whale, the orca, the sharks, the dolphins, they do it. They give suck to their young ones. They feed their babies. The daughter of my people is become cruel. That daughter of Zion became cruel. Now you kill your babies because the oppressor told you so. It says the daughter of my people has become cruel like the ostriches in the wilderness. And it wasn't always like this. Because Pharaoh told these sisters, the Hebrew midwives, if they have a boy, kill the babies, man. But let's find out what these sisters said and did. Keep going.
Okay. But if there be a daughter, then she shall live.
You know why the daughter lived and the son didn't? The son carries the seed.
Right.
That's Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. You have the seed of your father. You can have girls, and it stops there. But if you have sons, that seed goes on. That life goes on, man. Keep going.
Verse 17. But the midwives feared God.
But the midwives what?
Feared God.
These Black and Latino women feared God. They didn't do it. Keep going.
And did not as the king of Egypt commanded them.
And they did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, man. They didn't do it. They didn't kill the babies, man. They didn't kill the babies of our people, man. This is back when our sisters, man, were righteous. And our sisters now are righteous here in the I.S.U.P.K, man.
Right.
Give them a hand. But they did not, they did not Pharaoh's order, man. And God did right by these sisters, man, and blessed them. That's why it's important, man. Even if you look at Moses, man. Moses was destined to be aborted. He was destined for the abortion clinic. But he had a righteous father and mother put him in that basket and saved his life, man.
Right.
Saved his life. He ended up delivering us out of Egypt, man. That's why we got to realize we ain't African, man. Africans hate our people. Got a question?
The thing is, why are they so better than us and name their kid Abraham, knowing that that's not, even though Abraham came from us?
It's the same reason why the so-called Jews tried to take our names. Because they hate us. They're trying to assume our identity. But they can't. Because our identity is right here in this book. It's right here in the Bible. It's in plain sight. It's hidden, though, in plain sight. But here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we've been bringing this out since 1969, man. That's why it is important for us to come back to this. And here's another thing, man. America is Egypt, man. The scriptures say that America is spiritually Egypt and Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
With all the homosexuality, all the corruption, all of them pushing abortion, man, we got to realize, man, we got to come out of this place. Now, if I could, give me Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. Because what we don't realize, man, this is what the Lord said if we disobeyed him. God said that if we disobeyed him, this would happen. Now, he said if we obeyed him, we will be blessed above all nations. But he said if we disobeyed him, Deuteronomy 28 and 15, that we will be cursed. Now, this is another curse that happened to our people. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
The Lord will bring thee into Egypt again. Egypt. The Lord told us that if we disobeyed him, that he was going to bring us back into Egypt. Egypt itself, we walked out of Egypt the first time. The Lord said he was going to bring us back into Egypt. Now, Egypt is a Greek word which means Egyptos, which means slavery, bondage. God said that he was going to bring us back into slavery. Read on.
Again, with ships.
With what?
Ships.
With what?
Ships.
With ships. God said that we were going to go back into slavery again with ships. Who went into slavery with ships? Who went into slavery with ships? That's right. In 1492, the conquistador and Cortez, they came over here to the Americas and enslaved the North American Indian, enslaved the Seminole Indian, and put them on cargo slave ships to Spain. Took the Taino Indian, who is of the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, dropped them off in the Isle of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico means rich port, port of riches. They named the slaves Port of Riches, rich port, Puerto Ricans. When you're of the tribe of Ephraim, Puerto Rican man and woman, Cuban man and woman, you are of the tribe of Manasseh. They took the black man in 1555, went over to West Africa because we fled into West Africa. I bought hold what I asked for from Babylon to Timbuktu.
Come.
We fled into Africa, man, fleeing from Roman persecution. As a matter of fact, the Lord said he was going to bring us back into Egypt again with ships. And listen, we went on them cargo slave ships as blacks and Latinos. But the question is, how did we get over there to Africa? How? In 1555, that's when the oppressor started to come get us. In the 1400s, he went and got the North American Indians, the Seminole Indians, and the Mexicans, and the Guatemalans, and the El Salvadorians, and the Brazilians, and the Argentinians and Chileans. Took them to South America and Spain. In 1555, early as that, he came to West Africa to get us. But how did we get to West Africa? We're going to come back to you. Read what you got, I
Okay.
where you reading from?
This is the book of From Babylon to Timbuktu, page 84. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem.
Listen, General Pompey captured Jerusalem in what year?
In the year 65 BC.
65 BC, an oppressor, a white man named Pompey, conquered Jerusalem. The Romans conquered us. Read on.
In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state.
In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus, they put an end to the Jewish state. And they put an end to Israel. Now it was under full Roman occupation. Now they're in charge. They put an end to Israel. Keep going.
With great slaughter.
With great murder and rape of blacks and Latinos and Native American Indians. Read.
During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed.
Many outrages and atrocities, man. Many outrages and atrocities. You want to know what one of those atrocities were? How about give me the Josephus?
Come on.
Let me see the Josephus again.
Oh, come on.
Let me see the Josephus again. I'm about to show you something. Let me show you one of these atrocities because I have time. I got time today. Let me show you what they did to us, man. One of the atrocities that they did to our people, man, was so heinous. They would not just murder us and rape our people, man. Let me tell you something. These people are diabolical.
Right.
They starved us out too.
Right.
Listen, man, there was periods, right, where sisters did the unthinkable. And we about to read about one. We about to read about one in 1 second. Salah. Give me 1 second. Keep going, Bob, while I wait to find this.
Oh, from Babylon Timbuktu.
Yeah, Babylon Timbuktu. When I find this, when I find it, we're gonna read it.
Okay. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people.
Many atrocities were committed against the residue of the people, man. Those to show you, man, a lot of evil went down with our people, man, where they did many atrocities. Go ahead.
Okay. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews.
That over 1 million what?
1 million Jews.
That over 1 million Jews, 1 million blacks, go ahead.
Okay. 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
That 1 million Jews fled into Africa. We fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution. That's how we got over there to Ghana. That's how we got over there to Nigeria. That's what happened. And what we need to realize, man, as the Lord's chosen people, as blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man, you got to realize that we ain't African. We not.
Right.
We are not African. And it goes to show you, man, why important it is, man. Because the thing with our people, we need to realize how evil these people are. Listen, man, they starved us out when we was over there. When like a lot of the atrocities they did to our people, man. And I'm about to go over one. Like this right here stuck with me.
I think it's sir, it might be book 4, book 6, chapter 3, section 4.
Yeah, I believe book 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe you are right. I'm looking for it right now. I believe I have it now. You said book 6.
Okay.
Chapter 3, verse 4.
Okay.
I believe I have it highlighted. That's what I'm looking for. Yes, I do. I buy it. I have it. Whew. 209. Let me read one of the atrocities that happened. Now we're going to come back to Babylon to Timbuktu. But let me read to you what happened with our people, man. In particular with a sister, because they were starving our people, man. And when we get through reading this is history. And this is also in the Bible, too, and I can show it to you. And you will have no doubt in your mind that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Many outrages, many atrocities. That was in Babylon to Timbuktu, another source. Let me show you another source in the Josephus, what we read earlier.
Okay. This is the Josephus, page 737. You want me to start at 209?
Yeah, where I got it highlighted right there.
Okay.
Start there. And then you're going to go to the next page and read all the way down.
Okay. Upon this, the seditious came in presently, smelling the horrid scent of this food.
Now, because the Romans were starving us, there was, it was a horrible stench that was coming from a home. And our people were eating gold, eating the leather, because the Romans would not give us food because we were at war with them. Read on.
They threatened her.
Now, they threatened her. Read up where it says, I might not have highlighted that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Where it talks about, or maybe it's in the highlighted part on what she did.
Okay.
Or keep reading.
Okay. That they would cut her throat immediately if she did not show them what food she had gotten ready.
Now, it was a sister, right? It was an Israelite woman, black woman. She was making food. And these men ran up in her house and was like, yo, sis, I know you cooking something. We hungry. We don't want to kill you. We want some of this food that you making. Now, mind you, it was a horrible smell.
Right.
Read.
She replied that she had saved a very fine portion of it for them.
She saved a very fine portion of it for them. Read.
And withal uncovered what was left of her son.
Read that again.
And withal uncovered what was left of her son.
The Romans starved us. The white man starved us out so bad that a mother that was so hungry, so destitute, told her child, I can't feed you, but maybe you could be food for me, and ate half of her baby. That's why when the men came, they smelled a horrendous smell. Right. A lot of us are parents, and you cannot even think about killing and eating your own child, but you never experienced that level of oppression and hunger before, have you? This is why the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Read.
Okay. Hereupon they were seized with a horror and amazement of mind.
These men that went up in her house to steal her food were shook. They could not believe that this mother, who was so hungry, she killed her son and ate half her son. Read.
And stood astonished at the sight when she said to them, this is mine own son, and what had been done was mine own doing. She said, this is my baby, this is my son, and what happened was my own doing. And because she was so hungry, being starved out by the oppressor, that's what she had to resort to. How could you celebrate Halloween? How could you celebrate Christmas? How could you celebrate Thanksgiving? The same holidays of the oppressor that did this to our people. Wow. If you try to justify, you are a different type of traitor that is not worthy to be here. And some of you Negroes will blame the woman. I don't blame that sister. I don't. I blame who caused it. Right. A lot of our people struggle with that level of brotherhood where you'll get mad at your father or mother or uncle or auntie for being a drug addict when you're not mad at the oppressor for bringing the drugs in, which caused them to be a drug addict. Who brought the guns in? You're mad at your son for being a gangbanger. I'm mad at the oppressor for bringing the guns in and encouraging our sons to do this. Right. You got to identify the real culprit in all this, and this is the oppressor. Read on. Come, eat of this food, for I have eaten of it myself. She's eaten of it herself. In Deuteronomy chapter 28, in verse 56, it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which shall not set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, for her eye shall be evil towards her husband. In Deuteronomy 28 and 56, it said that the woman's eye, sister's eye, will be so evil toward her husband, she won't be tender and delicate no more. It was a time when sister's feet didn't touch the ground. You didn't go outside barefoot like you do now, ready to fight everybody and be ignorant and dumb and stupid. And her eye shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom. Your eye will be evil towards her husband. Your eye will be evil towards your husband and toward her son and her daughter and toward her young ones that cometh between her feet and towards the children she shall bear, for she shall eat them of one of all things. Right. That's why we have to obey our God. Right. That's why it's important for us to do what our God said to do. Skip down about where it got to the Romans when they found out about it and what they said. Oh God. God. This sad instance was quickly told to the Romans. Now the white man found out that this woman ate her baby. This black woman ate her son. And they was like, hey, read. some of whom could not believe it,
They couldn't believe it. They said, hold up, she did what? Go ahead.
and other pitied the distress which the Jews were under.
Mm-hmm.
But there were many of them who were hereby induced to a more bitter hatred than ordinary against our nation.
You had a lot of those white people, a lot of those oppressors that got more anger and hatred towards us. You had some that had pity. You had some that couldn't believe it, but you had a lot of them, more than them. Their eyes grew more angry and hatred towards us. And they don't realize it was their anger and hatred. Well, they do realize it is their anger and hatred towards us, which caused our sister to do this. So when you read that their eyes got more angry and for more hatred, they became more bloodlusted.
Right.
They wanted to see more of that. It's a reason why the oppressor does not push critical race theory in the school systems for this reason. They don't want their people and our people to know that they're the devil that the Bible speaks of. And on top of that, there's a different type of devil. And this one is more common than not. You'll have some that says, oh, damn, this is wrong. What my people did was wrong, what we did to blacks and Latinos. But you got a lot more of them that look at them John Wayne movies of them killing Native American Indians and look at them movies and look at what happened in the Alamo in history, how they raped and murdered Mexicans, the tribe of Isupk, and they get inspired by it. They get so inspired by it, they go to black supermarkets and murder our elderly. They go to our schools and murder our babies in Texas. They go to our churches and murder blacks and Latinos. I'm talking about Dylan Roof. They go to the border and whip Haitians. There's more of them that think like that than those that actually have pity. That's why it's important for us to realize that brotherhood is key. That brotherhood is key. And what African stood up against this? While this sister was eating her baby and was being starved out, what African nation came to the aid of our people if we're the same? None. Because they understand that we're different. We're not them. We're the children of Israel. And we fled into Africa, fleeing from what happened in Israel and those atrocities like that sister eating her baby. Brothers eating their leather shoes and wallets and eating their gold. The Romans used to cut the gold out of our stomachs, man. That's why it's important for us to realize that we're not those people. Let's go back to Babylon and Timbuktu while I buy there a little bit more. That was basically it. Go to the next page.
Babylon
86.
Okay.
Where I got to highlight it.
Oh, there was a little bit more, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
Fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery, the slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
Listen, the slave markets were filled of Jews, black Jewish slaves. The slave markets were full of black people, man, full of Latinos, man. That's why we were fleeing from the Romans, fleeing into Africa, fleeing into Europe. Now go, I believe it's page 86 or 88.
I think it's page 90, sir.
Page 90, read it.
The black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes.
Woo! Read that again.
The black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes.
We had an advantage over those African tribes. You want to know what that advantage is? Now, we read it earlier in Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6 that we're a holy people above all people. But now you're about to read it also at a different source. Rudolph Windsor, who went to Temple College, wrote this book. He ain't in the Israelite school of UPK. It's history. Read on.
They carried their culture, history, laws, and written records with them.
We carried our culture and our written laws with us. Meaning when we went over there, we had this. We had our Bible. We had our Apocrypha. We had our records. We had our identity. They knew who we were. Read on. And we had an advantage over them.
This assured them a constant precedent for the development of a higher social organization.
The development of a higher social organization. Meaning we were above them other Africans in their land, and they hated us for it. because we were in there making all the money. We were together. We wasn't intermingling with them. And you wonder why they captured us and sold us to the oppressor. Read on, because we had an advantage over them. Keep going.
Okay. Because of the stability of the black Jewish culture, the Jews were not absorbed into the autochthonous population.
I'll break that down for you. Because we were so stable in our traditions and our God and in this Bible and our records, guess what? We wasn't absorbed into their spirituality and their culture. We understood it was garbage. We said, "No, we ain't assimilating with you. We separate. But we good." Keep going.
Okay. In fact, the Jews absorbed some of the native tribes.
Listen, man, we put them on. Keep going.
The Jews made use of every opportunity.
We made use of every opportunity and every advantage that we had over there. Keep going.
They were an industrious and skillful people.
We were what?
Industrious and skillful people.
We are an industrious and skillful people, man. And them Africans are not. And they hated us for it. Keep going.
And the Jewish Guyanan states were found kings.
Listen, man, when we took over Ghana and took over Nigeria and West Africa, we had kings. Go ahead. Princes. Governors. Generals. God damn, we had princes, kings, governors, and generals. What else did we have that the Africans didn't have? Secretaries. God damn. Go ahead. Treasurers dealing with the money. Go ahead. Revenue agents, man. Go ahead. Monitor the different revenue and land that was coming in. Go ahead. Judges. Architects, the judges, man. Judging over matters in the law. And what else? Architects, man. Dealing with the archaeology. Digging the ground up, looking for diamonds and stuff. Go ahead. Engineers. Ooh-wee. Doctors. Yeah, we were engineers, doctors, generals. Keep going. Historians. Keep going.
Language
interpreters. We ain't just speak Hebrew. We can speak their language too. Go ahead. Mathematicians. All of these things and et cetera. That's what gave us an advantage over these Africans. I buy whole Romans 3:1.
Okay.
That's the advantage that we have of being Israelites and why it's important. And we're going to get to that. But first, let's go back to Deuteronomy 28:68 and then we'll close out with Romans 3:1.
The book of Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. By the way, whereof I speak unto thee.
The Lord said this, man, Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. He said, the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. We went into cargo slave ships. Africans rounded us up, sold us to the oppressor. Arabs made them slave ships. And guess what? That's in the Bible. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, by the way I'm talking to you, I'm speaking unto you. Go ahead, keep going.
Thou shalt see it more again.
Thou shalt see it no more again. What have we not seen? We have not seen our land. We have not seen Israel. The oppressor has it right now. But we're going to get our land back. Keep going.
Again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
We were sold unto who?
Enemies.
We were sold unto our enemies, the oppressor, man. We were sold unto our enemies, man. The Africans, the Arabs, the oppressor. Go ahead.
For bondmen and bondwomen.
Bondmen and bondwomen. Slave men and slave women. Read on.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall buy you. No man shall buy you. Meaning no man shall buy you is old quicker English. No man shall redeem you. No man shall save you. That's why Christ had to come and die so we can come back in this truth. If I could, give me Romans chapter 3 verse 1 and I'll close out with that.
Oh God. This is the book of Romans chapter 3 verse 1. What advantage then have the Jew?
What advantage did have the Jew? What advantage did we have being Black, Latino, and First Nation, man? What advantage do we have being Jews? Read on.
Or what profit is there of circumcision?
What profit is there of circumcision, man? Circumcision meaning giving these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Go ahead. Being taught these oracles. Go ahead.
Much every way.
Much every way. Much every way. That's the advantage that we have of being Jews, of being Blacks and Latinos. Much every way. Read on.
Chiefly.
Chiefly, meaning greatly. Go ahead.
Because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
We were given the oracles of God. We were given, I'll get one more. Alice, give me John chapter 13 and verse 34. I'll get one more. That's why we got to realize this, man. We were given the oracles of God. We were given these laws, statutes, and commandments, which was not given to these other nations. That's why Christ said that these two laws hinge all the commandments. That if we love our brother as ourselves, you know what I mean? And first of all, more importantly, is to love the Most High with all thy mind, strength, and thy soul, and to love thy brother as thyself. Those two commandments hinge all the law. We keep those two. The rest of the law, that the commandments, will be a breeze. Right. If I could, let me get John chapter 13 and verse 34. Bobby. Yeah, the book of John, chapter 13 and verse 34. That's what? Yeah, John chapter 13 and verse 34. I buy a whole 1 Peter 2 and 9.
Okay.
No, 1 Peter 2 and 17.
Okay.
I'll close out with that.
I don't have trouble trying to find it.
Okay, sir.
Read that, bud.
This is the book of John, chapter 13 and verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another.
That ye love one another. Christ said, a new commandment that I give unto you, that you love one another. Meaning Christ is telling us, man, Christ is being sarcastic when he said, a new commandment I give unto you. Meaning that Christ is telling us to love one another. Love thy brother, love thy sister. Ain't talking about loving everybody. Love one another. Love thy brother, love thy sister. Love that black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman. Read on.
As I have loved you.
As I have what?
Loved you.
Christ loved us so much that he gave up his own life. Christ didn't give up his own life so you can continue to steal, sell drugs, you know what I mean, to be a whore or a whoremonger. Christ died so we can come back in this truth, man. Read on.
That ye also love one another.
That ye also love one another. Read on.
Verse 35. By this shall all men know.
This is how all men are going to know. This is how all men are going to know. Read.
That ye are my disciples.
This is how you're going to know who the real disciples of Christ are. This is how you're going to know who the real priests and prophets of God are. And it's only us in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Read on.
If ye have love one to another.
If ye have love one to another, because we love one another in the I.S.U.P.K and the Commanded GEN.YAHANNA. They don't love one another in the fake Israelite groups. They don't love one another in that Christian church or that Muslim mosque. Let me get one last one. Read what you got out of 1 Peter 2 and 17.
This is the book of 1 Peter 2, verse 17. Honor all men.
Honor all men. Give honor unto all men. Read on.
Love the brotherhood.
Love this brotherhood. Honor all men. Be respectful, man. Watch how you speaking to everybody, man, and be diligent. And honor all men and love the brotherhood. Love the I.S.U.P.K and the Commanded GEN.YAHANNA, and extend this brotherhood to brothers and sisters in the world too, man. Read on.
Fear God.
Fear God. Fear the Most High, Yahweh. Don't fear the oppressor. Don't fear these heathens. Don't fear these Africans. Don't fear Wakanda. Fear God, Yahweh.
Honor the king.
Honor Christ. Honor Yahweh Shah Mashiach. That being said, man, it's the Brotherhood class of Priest and Officer 1000. You die. I want to say the water, everybody for tuning in and coming to class. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the class off the Priest and Officer of 500.
Give Priest and Officer the guy of 1000 proper head to the proper class. I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanded GEN.YAHANNA. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shut themselves in the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it after 6 months. If a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must be permission for the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment, found in the book of Numbers, 18 verse 21, and the book of Malachi, 3 verse 8 through 10. Mashal means 10th in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give it to the teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests not mandatory. Whatsoever amount of like upcoming holy convocation is the feast of dedication Hanukkah, found on the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days. This year, it will be on December 17th, Saturday, at sundown, 2022 for 8 days. Found in the book of First Maccabees, chapter 4, verses 52 to 61. Remind Akim and Akwafi to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing a black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. With that, for the men, a marshal, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we'll give 130 to salute. Men of Israel, Amon Shabbat, Amon, Barak,
Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Star, turn the face up, Yahweh top, Yahweh top, hands means hands down. Star, turn the face sister. Sisters means Amon. Sister Yahweh Shabbat is your head, body covered, your feet connected at 45-degree angle, your right hand claps over your left. When we say Barak, we salute back. Men of Israel, we sisters will curse salute. Men of Israel, at Majid Shabbat, at Majid, Barak.
Yahweh Shamar, Atham Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah.
Yahweh. You want to repeat after me? Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamar.
Shema.
Atham. Ba'ashem.
Hashem.
Yahweh Shah. What you said was, Yahweh watch over you in the name of Christ. Yahweh Shah means hands down, clap the